there is something that has been interesting me lately. I watched a video that really interested me, and it was going over like the creepiest like relics in religion, and some of it was Christianity, Mayan, whatever. But I looked at some of the Catholic ones, and some of them I'd seen, some of them I haven't, and I got like super excited. I was like, whoa, those look metal as fuck. Like, to me, they looked metal as fuck. So I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a video on it. Found a bit of time to do it, so I'm doing that now. So I decided I'm gonna do 5 of those most metal as fuck Catholic relics out there that I've seen, and I want to forward that, you know, this is a controversial topic. There are videos on it, but there's not a lot. There's not like a lot of niche to this. There are some, you know, Catholic podcasts I've seen by some priests, but I don't know. This seems like a topic that, you know, I want to tread lightly on because I don't want to offend anyone. I know I have Catholic followers in my community. I have a lot of Catholic family members. I just think it's really cool, and I want to make sure this is done with care, respect, but also a little bit of my edgy
kind of bullshit that I do.
So anyway, we're going to proceed on. I just want you all to know, like, this is not a dig if you are Catholic or if you are Christian and you follow these beliefs. There is going to be some history. There is going to be me farting around, you know, whatever. But I just wanted to drop that. So yeah, I've been super interested in relics, and I don't know if it goes back to, there was the movie The Relic, if you've ever seen it. But you know, like 12 plus years ago, I remember I was playing Dante's Inferno, based off, you know, the Divine Comedy works by Dante Alighieri, and in the game, for you to get stronger, you have to get a lot of these relics, but they're not all like Catholic relics or Christian relics. A lot of them are, you know, Greek relics or whatever. So you'll get this person's finger or the eyes of Saint Lucia or whatever, and you get certain powers. And I always thought that was cool. So I think all of that kind of meshed. And then finally I saw that video. I'm like, hey, I want to write up a script on this, and I want to do a video about it. So what is a relic? I mean, a relic is a man-made object or body parts, usually to do with, I mean, it could be anything really, but it really stems into kind of religious sects of whatever institution you're following. In this case, Catholicism with Christianity. Okay, these relics, at least for the Catholic Church in history, especially around the medieval period, was used for pulling in worshipers. A lot of church heads would actually push like, hey, we need more relics, we need more of them so we can pull people in, because they would use them for healing practices and ceremonies. They would use them for parades. They'd use them to like for authenticity, like, oh dude, we're the real deal. We got 20 relics, dude. We got the head of John the Baptist, bro. Like, what do you guys got? And so there was this real push to, hey, we need more authentic relics, and, you know, put quotes around authentic. But there was also kind of like a little black market. There was like this, they were used for trading, but you'll see that, hey, this pope traded these relics to these guys, and then, you know, they receive, you know, some kickback. So there was relic trading, but it also led to theft, fraud, and plundering. So no kidding, if you had a church with a bunch of relics, they may get plundered. They may get a lot of their stuff stolen. There's a lot of relics in the past that are just fraud. We're actually going to talk a little bit about it. Okay, but why am I even interested in this? Like, I haven't talked about like anything religious in any of my streams since I started streaming like 5 years ago. Okay, so a bit of background. I grew up in South Texas, and my parents grew up Roman Catholic, and their parents were Roman Catholic as well, I believe. Anyway, well, I was. So they raised me and Funkbot, my brother, as Roman Catholic when I was a little baby dino. Okay, and I attended a cathedral in South Texas, and I would go to Sunday school. I had to go to Sunday Mass every morning. You know, I did my first Holy Communion. I was on the track of being confirmed in the Catholic Church. I did the whole kit and caboodle, dude. I ate the body of Christ, you know, where they give you a little Christ cookie or Christ cracker, and then you drink some wine at like 9, 8 in the morning, and it's fucking cool, dude. And so I did that whole deal, and I'd go with both my parents when I was younger. And, you know, when I'd be in church, I'd always act up. I'd always get in trouble, man. I'm always playing in the back. I'm going around. I'm grabbing holy water. I'm flicking people with it. Like no kidding. Holy water was my favorite. I'd always go and get too much, and then I've drinking some before because I'm a fucking idiot. But anyway, I haven't burned up yet, so whatever. But yeah, my favorite part was like playing with the candles and everything. But one thing that was interesting that I was thinking about is, you know, we did go to a very old cathedral when I was younger. And so there was a lot of like medieval and Baroque. There was some medieval, some Baroque, kind of Renaissance paintings. I know they're all the three different periods, but the medieval ones are the ones that scared me the fucking most, dude. I'm telling you. Like, you know, you'd have no kidding, like a sculpture of Jesus, and he's like just bloody, and he's like making the creepiest faces. Like, throw a kid in that church in the middle of the night and they're gonna have a heart attack, because it's scary, dude. And like a lot of the statues, like they'd be creepy too, and then they'd have these paintings and you'd be seeing like saints being fucking executed and stuff. Yeah, it was super creepy. And so like I think that's where the whole, hey, you know, these are kind of metal, because like for Catholics that's just the thing. But it's just like, oh yeah, that's kind of our vibe. But there's like this kind of gothic aura of Catholicism, and you know, there's a lot of death in that history, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of cool. So anyway, you know, I'd get really scared, and a lot of times I would see these statues and I'd see these paintings and I'd get all freaked out. Like, for instance, every single row had these like little medieval carvings, and it'd always have like some saint like looking up, and they're dead, right? They're just dead and they're looking up, and it looks super weird. It's super uncanny. And so I could never sit on the far left if we were in the left aisle, or the far right if we were in the right aisle. I had to be as far away from these paintings as possible. I couldn't get near the altar with the dead Jesus with blood all over him, and you know, with the rockin' abs. Couldn't do it. So like I'd usually act up when I'd get a little scared, and then my dad would have to take me to the car and then just leave me in there until mass ended, so you know, my family doesn't get embarrassed. Little did I know, I actually found out later that my dad would sometimes pinch me so he could go to the car, because we'd go to the car and we'd listen to like NFL, you know, like, hey, here's what's gonna happen with the upcoming, you know, Cardinals game or whatever. Cardinals, yeah, like Catholic Cardinals. And the Saints, right? Yeah, and so like I'd sit there and we'd listen, and then church would be over, and yeah, I'd piss a lot of people off. That being said, you know, I saw this video not too long ago, and I really wanted to dive deeper into the relics, so I did some research for this video. So this is going to be revolving around relics that came from saints primarily, not all of them, but primarily from saints that were venerated. And you know, they got martyred for their beliefs, and they really, you know, they stood up for their beliefs in Catholic Church, and you know, they eventually had to face the music, which you could too face the music, but in a good way, with my new streaming project, The Beat Lab. It's actually not that new, but yeah, that's right, I'm sponsoring myself. This is a collection of copyright free music that you can listen to for free with no subscription. Okay, you can stream your own content without fear of copyright strikes. You know, this is perfect for students, hardworking individuals, like some of you in my community, streamers like some of you in my community, or those who just like to chill and listen to good music. Okay, there are 14 plus hours of lo-fi music, 6 plus hours of holiday music, and even some tavern beats for those of you who like to play D&D and board games. You guys know who you are. You can listen to the music on all online streaming platforms from a single link. You can go to hyperfollow.com/thebeatlab, where you can listen to the music, or even go to my 24/7 YouTube live stream of lo-fi beats. You just go to YouTube and type in Frosty Jams and you should find it. If you are enjoying the free music and you want to support the project, you can go to ko-fi.com/frostysjams. You can buy me a coffee or a beer. After this video, go to the link in the description below and listen to the songs from The Beat Lab by Frosty Jams. That's me. And I really hope you enjoy the chill vibes. Back to the video. Okay, so the first relic we're going to cover, number 1, the head of Mary Magdalene. So this one, I wanted as number 1. This is not in any, you know, order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I wanted to cover this one because this one's metal as fuck, okay? If you look at this reliquary of Mary Magdalene with her head in it, supposedly, there is a human skull in this. That's a human skull. Okay, and it's in this reliquary of like this gold hair and shoulder and these like bald-headed angels. I don't know if it's bald or if they got like a headband, whatever, holding up this kind of like, you know, shoulder, and then there's this other like smaller reliquary below it. In this thing is a human head, and I believe in that chalice below, I think there's some other human remains, like maybe like a toe or something. But this thing looks like it's from Warhammer 40k, yo. Like this thing looks like, I don't know, man, like you'd put it in a freaking dreadnought and it'd be like, lead me to the slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, this looks dope. This looks awesome. But anyway, so this relic is the human remains, primarily the skull of Mary Magdalene, who is one of the female followers of Jesus Christ. Look, If you've seen the Da Vinci Code, you know the whole Mary Magdalene conspiracy, whatever. Okay. This is a blackened skull displayed in this golden reliquary that's at the Basilica of Saint Marie Madeleine in Saint Maximin la Saint Baume in South France. Pretty sure I drank a wine from there, you know what I mean? So the construction for the actual basilica began in 1295 under Charles II of Anjou, also known as the King of Naples, the Count of Provence, the nephew of St. Louis, who was the King of France. Like, that was like his title stream, you know, like in Game of Thrones. It's like, oh, the breaker of chains and the mother dragons and all that. So Mary Magdalene's body was buried by her good friend Maximin in this, well, around the area of this basilica. And the body was found during excavations ordered by Charles II of Anjou. Okay. So that's how the remains came about. There are other relics of human remains that are believed to be from Mary Magdalene. This includes like a foot bone from the Basilica of San Giovanni dei Fortini, left hand now located at Simon Petra Monastery in Greece, a tooth at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, and a rib at the Basilica of Saint Mary Magdalene in Vézelay, France. So yeah, so they pretty much just like ripped apart her dead body and was like, all right, I'm gonna trade this piece here, this piece. Remember when I was talking about trading? That's kind of how this happens. It's like, bro, like, you know, if you can give me a pinky, dude, I'll give you a tooth. It's like, all right, man, let's make that happen. So that's kind of the deal. And there's a lot of pushback on whether this really is her skull. And you know, it's so hard to know because she was dug up in the 1200s, almost 1300s. It's like, how do you really know that's her skull? And so with a lot of these relics, that's kind of going to be the case. Also found in her tomb was another relic. It was called the Saint Ampoule, which is the glass sphere containing earth soaked with the blood of Jesus Christ collected by Mary at the foot of the cross. And so, see, in my research, I couldn't find, did they do any DNA testing on this? Can you like take this blood soaked, cloth of Jesus? Well, it was blood soaked earth. So I don't know, was it like sand? But could you take that DNA and try to match it with the DNA of, like, believe it or not, other tarps that might have had Jesus's blood or whatever? Like, they really need to try to match that. But when the remains were being excavated, the jawbone was sent to Rome after a previous excavation of her tomb. So it was actually excavated twice. And so I guess her jaw went, on one time and the finger bones went in the other. I don't know. But this was before the Saracen invasion in 710 AD. So upon doing research, you'll find that Saracen invasion actually caused for a lot of these relics to disperse. But these were the relics in France. Remember, there's some in the UK, there's some in Italy, there's a lot in Italy. Anyway, moving on. So a piece of live skin was actually attached to the skull of this relic where Jesus supposedly touched. So the piece of the skin actually had a name. So it was a little piece of the skin on the skull, and it was named Noli me tangere, which is Latin for touch me not. These are words spoken by Jesus to Mary when she recognized him in the resurrection. This according to John 20:17. Okay, and there's like paintings of this and everything. It's like Jesus doing like kind of like a Heisman push on Mary Magdalene's head. At least that's what it looks like. It is believed that the touch made Mary's head blessed to the skin as a miracle. So the idea is like he touched her head, and because she was blessed there, everything else decomposed except for that piece of skin on her head. And that's gonna kind of be a thing with these relics, and I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, anyway. Okay, so Mary Magdalene's history. She is mentioned by name 12 times in the canonical gospels. I'm not talking about like apocryphal texts, but more than most of the apostles and more than any other woman in the gospels other than Jesus's family. So out of all the Marys, she's mentioned the most. And then here's a quote from the Smithsonian. From the New Testament, one can conclude that Mary Magdala, her hometown, a village on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, was a leading figure among those attracted to Jesus. When the men in the company abandoned him at the hour of mortal danger, Mary Magdala was one of the women who stayed with him, even to the crucifixion. She was presented at the tomb, the first person to whom Jesus appeared after his resurrection, and the first to preach the, quote, good news, unquote, of the miracle. And then keep in mind, like, a lot of times Mary Magdalene is mentioned, based on the research that I've done, is that she is sometimes could also be confused with other Marys. There's a hell of a ton of Marys in the Bible, okay? I know that sounded funny. Yeah, so moving on. Number 2. the flayed skin of Saint Bartholomew. So this one's wild, and this is what I'm talking about. Like when I was little, you see this statue of Saint Bartholomew. This is a statue of a man, just butt ass naked, peeling his skin off, like some Game of Thrones style. Was it House Bolton, the flayed man? That's what the hell this is. That's actually happening. He's kind of like peeling his skin off, and he's like, "Oh, what's up, guys? Like, how do you do, fellow children?" Yeah, and there's multiple statues of this, and there's actual paintings of the flayed skin of Saint Bartholomew, where it actually has him just getting flayed open, or just standing there, and he's just dripping, like it's just muscle, and he's just holding his skin like it's like a fucking rubbery cloth or whatever. That shit's wild. Yeah, like. I think this one is in Rome. I don't know exactly where it is, but the robe he's wearing, like you can see his floppy ass foot on the right side of his hip, our left side. Like that's a floppy ass foot, and he's just wearing his skin like a robe. Dude, I don't know. That's kind of badass. Dude, they need to put that in a video game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty cool. Anyway, so the flayed skin of Saint Bartholomew. There's another reliquary. You're going to hear reliquary a lot. That's just, that's where relic comes from. It's where the relics are actually stored. But it's like this giant kind of like ceramic. It's not ceramic, but it's like a stone tub. And apparently some of his flayed skin is in there. And it's brittled, but it's still kind of, I don't know, just gross, I guess. But yeah, so the idea is that this relic is the human remains of Saint Bartholomew. He's also known as Nathaniel in the Bible. And that these human remains are the flayed skin, kind of deteriorating, and kept in that kind of tomb in the Basilica of San Bartholomew alla Sola in Rome, Italy. That's too hard to say. But apparently there's another piece of skin and large bones kept in the Cathedral of St. Bartholomew in Lipari, which he's from. And there's also Catholic institutions to believe they have the flayed skin. Believe it or not, the Cleveland Museum of Art, and I actually found a picture here, claims to have some of the flayed skin that they received. It's mummified, and they received it through some trust. So I guess that's another way of trading these relics in modern day. They have a trust, and it's like, hey, you send me your relic and we'll hold on to it, and here's some payment. I don't know how it works, but yeah, that looks super grody, dude. But yeah, apparently this mummified flesh. And I also kind of like if you look this dude's flayed, right? The face he makes, like when he's flayed, I don't know, it just reminds me of like when Lady Frost is yelling at me. I feel like I make that same face too. But so in popular culture, I mean, you can see like even in Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel on the ceiling, there is someone holding onto the flayed skin of Saint Bartholomew. That shit's wild, dude. Show that to a kid and they'll get freaked out. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's fucking wild. Anyway, so to the history of St. Bartholomew. So he was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus according to the New Testament. Many scholars today identify St. Bartholomew as Nathaniel. The name Bartholomew comes from the Imperial Aramaic as son of Ptolemy, or the son of furrows, not son of furries. Damn it, Spagooter, I know that's what you were thinking. Essentially, he went to India, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. That's what he's known for. Like, he's actually the patron saint of Azerbaijan. Well, that's one of the things. So he went to that area, and in India, he actually left behind the Gospel of Matthew, which is like kind of frustrating because, like, think about it. Back then, they didn't have the Gutenberg press, right? They didn't have a way of making copies. If you had a copy of a gospel, you fucking wrote it by hand. So I want you to imagine, like, you went to India, you forgot your gospel that you're teaching. You probably haven't memorized by now, but you forgot it there, and now you got to rewrite it. Like, that sucks, man. So you're over here, you're dropping like holy mixtapes, and then you leave it, right? And now you still got to go to Armenia and Azerbaijan. So I don't know, that would super suck. So as I mentioned, he was venerated as the patron saint of Azerbaijan, and he brought Christianity to the Caucasian Albanian region. So the way he died, he was flayed to death and beheaded in Greater Armenia because apparently he converted one of the kings to Christianity. One of the local kings was super pissed about it. He was a local leader, and he brought his henchmen, captured Bartholomew, and Bartholomew apparently kept to his beliefs. Like, he did not do the whole "Father, why have you forsaken me?" He's just like, "Yo, skin me, fuck you," like throwing two fingers, like, get it done. And so that's like where the art comes from. I mean, they literally skinned him alive, flayed him open, and removed all his skin while he was alive, and then cut his head off. So due to his martyrdom, he is known. So remember I said he was the patron saint of Azerbaijan. He has been considered the patron saint of tanners, plasterers, tailors, leatherworkers, bookbinders, farmers, house painters, butchers, and glove makers. Like, hear me out. Like, look, you got skinned alive, and now you're dead now because you got your head chopped off. I guess you're blessed now because you held on to your word, no snitches. But your followers who are tailors, leatherworkers, animal skinners, butchers, they're like, that's my guy. Like, that guy, he's the guy. Like, he got flayed. Nobody knows butchery better than this guy. Like, he knows how to get cut up. Like, can you imagine, like, he's in heaven, right? And he had to go through all that shit. And then he sees some, like, new leather maker or something trying to, like, fucking make a buck or something. He's like, nah, that's not how you do it. That's kind of, that's what goes up in my fucked up head. Glove makers, really? Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's some disrespect there, I think. Like, call me crazy. Like, oh, yeah, he got skinned alive. He's the patron saint of fucking glove making. I don't know, dude. I don't know. There's some disrespect there, but I'm not saying I'm being super respectful either.